Today we're going to talk about evolution and change over time. The process in which populations gradually change over time is called evolution. Evidence of a change over time. Fossils are the remains or imprints of once living organisms found in layers of rocks. The fossil record. Scientists have made a timeline of life known as fossil record. The fossil record organizes fossils by their estimated ages and physical similarities. Examining organisms. First, evolution of the whale. Scientists think that ancient ancestor of whales was probably a mammal that lived on land and that could run on 4 legs. Walking whales. The organisms shown on the next slide form a sequence between ancient 4-legged mammals and modern whales. Several pieces of evidence indicate that these species are related by ancestry. Evidence of whale evolution. Scientists think that whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals that could run on 4 legs. Second, this mammal lived in coastal waters about 49 million years ago. It could swim by kicking its legs and using its tails for balance. Third, the mammal lived in the oceans about 40 million years ago. It resembled a giant dolphin and propelled itself with its massive tail. Fourth, modern whales are flappers. Modern whales do not have hind legs, but they do have tiny hip bones. Comparing organisms. Comparing skeletal structures. The structure and order of bones of a human arm are similar to those of the front legs of a cat, a dolphin, and a bat. These similarities suggest that cats, dolphins, bats, and humans had a common ancestor. Human arm and cat leg, and the dolphin flipper and the bat wing. Second, comparing DNA. The greater number of the similarities in DNA between species, the more closely those two species are related through a common ancestor. The fact that all existing species have DNA supports the theory that all species share a common ancestor. Theories of evolution. Lamarck theory. A theory of evolution based on the principle that physical changes in organisms during their lifetime, such as greater development of an organ or a part through increased use. Lamarck proposed that these modified features could be passed on the generation, changing the species over time. Second, catastrophism is the theory that the Earth's features are mostly accounted for by violent, large-scale events that occurred in a relatively short amount of time. Example, an impressive mountain range was probably formed by worldwide earthquakes and eruptions. Darwin's theory of natural selection. Natural selection Darwin proposed the theory that evolution happens through a process that he called natural selection. Individuals that are better adapted to their environment survive and reproduce more successfully than less. Genetics and evolution. Scientists have found most of the evidence that Darwin lacked. They knew that variation happens as a result of different genes. Darwin, the theory of natural selection. Overproduction, variation, competition, selection. 1. Overproduction. Each species produces more offspring that can survive. A tarantula's egg sac may hold 500 to 1000 eggs. Some of the eggs will survive and develop into adult spiders, some will not. Second, variation. And it is each individual has unique combination of inherited traits. Why is variation important? Example, if everyone is the same, they are all vulnerable to the same environmental changes or diseases. The more variation of types of species in an habitat, the more likely at least some will survive. So variation is important because the environment, it changes. Each individual has its own combination of traits. Each tarantula is similar to, but not identical to its parents. Struggle to survive. Individuals compete for limited resources. food, water, space, mates, and other. Not all individuals survive to adulthood. Some tarantulas may be caught by predators, such as this wasp. Other tarantulas may starve or get disease. Only some of the tarantulas will survive to adulthood. Successful reproduction. The individuals with the best traits adaptations will survive and have the opportunity to pass on its traits to offspring. The tarantulas that are best adapted to their environment are more likely to have many offspring that survive. Thank you for watching.